I'm Angelique, and welcome back to our continuing series in QCT6 support. We are continuing in Pro. This time I'm going to show you how to use the record feature, and I brought a quilt in to show you how I actually use this feature to stitch some interesting blocks. We will be starting in simulation mode, so please go ahead and grab your tablet or your computer and follow along with me. But since a lot of what we're going to do, I want you to see how it acts on when moving the actual machine. We're going to head over to our Evolution Elite frame and our Unique 21X Elite, so join me over there. Now, I have this set up currently in simulation mode. I don't have it connected to the machine. So first thing I want to do is just turn on my Quilter's Creative Touch 6 software, and it's going to come up and it's going to ask me, because it knows that it's currently not hooked up to the machine. So I'm just going to say yes, that I want to go into simulation mode, or continue if you'd been working in simulation mode at another time. And you want to make sure that you are in Pro. So you can see up here that I am in Pro. If not, you would just click on the product tiers and select your Pro. So that's going to get rid of the gold stuff, because we won't be using any of the gold features today. We're going to start with record. So over here are the other features that are available in QCT6 Pro. And we're going to start here with record. And it's going to ask you to set your safe area. It's for simulation, so whatever numbers are there, just go with it. It doesn't really matter at this point. So I'm going to hit OK. I can put in if I know the size of the quilt I'm working on, but again, it's really not important. Let's take a look at some of the things that are available here. You can see that you can exit out the program with the red X, and you'll see that on the majority of our screens. And you're going to see we have a save button. So if I, kind of like what I'm working on, I can click save exactly what I have. And then in simulation mode, I have this little two half-colored arrow, black on one side, white on the other side. This is basically the placement of where the simulated needle would be if I was kind of drawing this out. We have a back button, which is going to take you to the prior screen. We do have a toolbox, which includes setting your safe area, doing some measurements, all of that. But again, we're not really doing any measurements, so I'm just going to kind of go back. We have a clear. Clear is basically going to erase everything that you just drew or traced using your machine when you're in the record feature. And then I'll show you edit once we kind of get to having something here, but just briefly, that is going to take you over to the PatternCAD, which I showed you in the other video. If I'm ready to start recording, there's two places I can do that. There's the big green button and the little button here. I like the big button. And so I'm going to click the start recording. And then wherever I click my mouse when I'm drawing, that's where it's going to start. So I can just kind of draw whatever design. I'm just doing a really simple loop-de-loop here, just to give you kind of an idea. And then when I'm happy with it, or I'm done drawing, I'm going to click the big red stop sign, and that's going to stop my recording. If I really just don't like it at all, I can hit clear, and it's going to completely go away. So I'm just going to do another one real quickly, just to have something here to show you. Maybe I'm going to cursive the word love, and that's going to be my design. Okay, so let's say I do like this. If I wanted to stitch it exactly the way it is, I would click the So Recorded when I'm actually hooked up to the machine. But most of the time, I'm drawing with a mouse, not a stylus. I'm a little shaky when I do that, so I'm probably going to want to do some editing first before I click on that design. So I would hit Edit. It's going to prompt me, am I sure that I want to end this session? And let's say, you know what, I don't, because I want to add a little something else to that. I can record some more. So I can start anywhere. I could start here if I wanted to. Maybe I decided I wanted to add a little heart as well. And then maybe I take my little heart back over to here, all right? So you can do several different recordings, but again, once you're done, either save it or go into your edit screen. And so this time I'm like, yeah, I think I'm pleased with what I've drawn so far. And it's gonna take me to PatternCAD, where you can use all the different tools to smooth things out, get it optimized and all that for placing it like a pattern, right? So since we showed you already how to use PatternCAD, I'm not going to kind of show you in this screen, but what I am going to do now is I'm going to show you what it's like if you were connected to your automation. All right, and so this is my cord that is going to hook up the mechanical parts of my automation to my tablet so my tablet can control the machine. All right, so now that that's hooked up, I'm ready to reopen my QCT program. Now I can, even when I'm hooked up, go back to simulation mode if I was already in simulation mode, but this time I actually want to physically move my machine, so I'm going to say no. And it's going to prompt me with make sure the sewing machine needle is up, because it's going to move it a little bit and you don't want that needle to drag on anything and end up breaking. And it is. Nothing's in the way, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK and let it do its little power up and checks as the software loads. Right, so I'm going to go back to the record feature and I'm going to show you what it's like to actually do that record, because this time we're actually going to set the safe area. So move your machine all the way top and left and click that button that says top left, and then slide your machine all the way to the right and to the bottom. Even off your quilt is perfect for that. And that's going to now let the machine know I can't go on either side outside of this zone, right? Everything else is still the same. I would get my needle this time, because you'll notice that since we're not in simulation mode, the little arrow is gone. So that, like I said, represented your needle. So now I'm just going to place the needle where I want it, and I'm going to click Start Record. And now I'm going to move the machine like I'm doing free motion to get a shape that I want. Now you do have to have your belts connected for it to be able to read that. So you might find it a little bit more difficult to push than if you were doing free motion, but you should still be able to kind of move that. You can hit stop, and now I have that. I can, again, just like I showed you with the simulation, I can edit, or I could go to sew recorded. So I'm gonna click sew recorded, but I'm not gonna go through actually sewing it, because I don't really want this pattern. I just wanted to demonstrate that. Once I say I want to sew it, it's gonna prompt me to save it as is, and then I can basically place this in here. And so that's now going to save it, and it's going to take me into pattern placement. And then in pattern placement, I would then do everything I would normally do for placing a pattern and sewing it. Okay, so that's basically the record feature. One of the things that I like about the record feature is that I can take a ruler and I can measure a certain area that I have with that ruler, kind of do some pretend ruler work, and then take that into PatternCAD, because now I have like whatever this shape is, and then I can draw something in PatternCAD that I want to fit into that shape. I rarely will sew directly from the record feature, but it's sometimes just fun to play if you have really kind of funky blocks, different shapes. I used it when I had a Halloween quilt, because there were all kinds of funky shapes for the witch's hat and things like that, that I wanted to kind of trace that shape so I could figure out what I wanted to put on the inside of it. So it's a very useful tool that you can use to expand your creativity. So this is the Halloween quilt that I mentioned, and here are the couple of blocks of where I use the record feature to get started tracing things out so that I could do some different designs and get automation to quilt it for me. Right, so I'm going to show you what I drew out for my quilt block. That was the witch's hat. So I did a little bit of ruler work, or that mock ruler work that I talked about. and basically just use that to get these lines here. I'm going to get rid of the notes so you can see that a little bit better. You did the ruler work so that I could trace out the shape of the witch's hat. I did a little bit of free motion quilting through here and some ruler work to get these lines. And then what I did is I took it back to PatternCAD and did some drawings in PatternCAD so I could add more to that. And then once I did all of that, I took it back to the machine and quilted out this pattern right on that block by doing what I showed you earlier on that. Another block that I did was one of my star patterns. So I again used the ruler and on the machine moved it around in the record and got the star shapes since they were a little bit different on each of the big stars. And again, took that back to PatternCAD and added some things on the inside and the outside of it to create what I wanted to stitch. And this is what I came up with. So let's take a look at it on the actual quilt. All right, so let me mime what I did for the star and for the witch's hat. I basically, like I said, on the with the record feature on, I just used my ruler. So I went along, moved my machine this way and this way, all the way around to get the basic star pattern. And like I said, I did the same thing with the witch's hat. I used the record feature and the ruler and the edge here just to get that basic design, and then took that basic design and moved it into PatternCAD. And as you can see, this is the result after we quilted it. So you can see the nice patterns that I designed it right in there from PatternCAD, all starting with the record feature. We can take a look at the star as well. And you can see all the little additions that I added to make it very webby. So that is QCT6 Pro record feature. Isn't it a fun way to get creative and create your own designs? Well, I hope this video has inspired you to do just that. In the meantime, if you have any questions about QCT6 Pro, feel free to reach out to our tech support team at support@graceframe.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.